Today I'm making Prairie Point bags. So what is a Prairie Point? Okay, so basically you have a square piece of fabric. You fold it from this corner to this corner, and then you fold it down in half again, and that forms your Prairie Point. So I'm making like a cosmetic bag, or maybe this might turn out a little bit smaller, but yeah, so I'm making like cases for, you could use it for a case for a cell phone. So let me start this and then I'll come back and show you how it's going. Okay, so I've sewn the first row of Prairie Points by securing them by folding the fabric and stitching along here. So now for the second row, what you have to do, I hope this is not confusing, you have to kind of stagger them. So you bring on over so the point is just, probably need a little bit more room to work with. It's just in between of the other. And we'll have some overhang on this side, but in the end we'll kind of cut those off. But for now, this is how it goes. So first we have to get these on here. No particular order. You can stash them inside of each other just to make them stay in place. And yeah, I have to pre-cut all of these little squares that I showed you in the beginning. I have to pre-cut them first. And then it's a process. It's a process. It's almost like, you can say it's almost like quilting. You know, you make all your little pieces first, and then you start getting them into a pattern the way you want them to fall on the garment or on the accessory that you're making. Okay, I'll be right back. So I just want to say, you know, just make sure you make all of your Prairie Points, you know, the same size. This is, let's see, this is about a actually, it's a 2-inch square. If you make them too small, you'll be putting this together forever and ever. It may come out very nicely, but you know, if you're like me and you like to see things come together pretty quickly, you don't want to make them too small. So I put here, I have 2 rows, and yes, I have the lines drawn here. Those will wash out later. It's pencil. And see, I missed this one. So I'm going to have to go back and fix that. But I'll just loosen the seam here. Is about 1/4 of an inch just to capture the raw edge of the Prairie Point. Oh, looks like I missed a bunch of them. So yeah, I might have to make that a little deeper or make it a little more consistent. I see I went off a little bit. Another thing you might do is go ahead and hand baste them on before you do the stitching, and that'll ensure that it holds it in place until you get it stitched. So I'll come back once I have this side completed. Okay, so I went ahead and removed all of that second row that I had placed in there, and I think I'm going to go a different method. This one is my first one, so it's like trial and error. I do have a bag that's already made with the Prairie points, and I'm just trying to decipher how they did it. So you are basically learning along with me. So I will go ahead and I will do as I suggested and go ahead and do some hand basting of these down in place, and then I will sew to cover the raw edges by folding this back, and then I'll be back. Stick with me, stick with me. So for the sake of this video, I've decided I'm going to modify this bag to only 4 rows of Prairie points on each side. I'll come back and I'll do this side. And then we will finish up the bag with something nice. And then I'll come back. But so far, this is what it's looking like. I think it's looking pretty colorful and nice. So let me continue and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's my progress. We've got 4 rows on this side, 2 rows on this side, and I continue until I have 4 rows on this side, and then we're going to bring it back, fold it back together, and make it into a bag. And we'll have to add a loop for a strap, for a wrist strap, and maybe something else down here. We'll see, but you know, this is the progress so far, so I think it's looking pretty good. Isn't that pretty, all those colors? I just love my Ankara fabrics, and you know, this is something you can do out of scrap. You don't have to take, you know, a full yard of fabric to cut up or anything like that. Just use the scraps that you have laying around and cut them in 2-inch squares. If you want to go a little faster, you can cut them in 3-inch squares or 4-inch squares and make it move along that much faster. But I kind of like the conglomeration of colors touching each other this way. You know, it really takes, you know, a special eye to just look at it and say, oh, I like that particular print. Oh, I like that pattern. Wonder what that looks like in a, you know, a complete piece. Here we kind of got the same pattern going together right here. I tried to avoid it, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Like here and here, there's the same pattern. But it works out. These, you know, it's all colorful and it's all beautiful. You'll hardly recognize it or, you know, realize it once it's all together. So I continue the process. See you shortly.